welcome everybody. Today we have another art update where we will share some sketches that we did and also how they come to life. So you've asked a lot of questions in the community on how those sketches that we have on Instagram, on YouTube, in the community section, and we just wanted to share the process behind it, how they are created, what's the story behind it, and take you along a journey, and also ask for your opinions. So you can shape the game with us since we're a Web3 company. And I would like to start with Resham on telling us how do the sketches come alive? What's the flow behind it, and why we're doing it like this? So Resham.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of research and effort that goes into the entire process of creating anything by the art team, basically. So for this, something like this, what we do is we have a history advisor on board who guides us about, the correct timings, the historical relevance, importance of particular events that involved crusaders at that time. So we basically get that knowledge from him, and then eventually our marketing and our team they enhance that further with more research. We do a lot of in-depth research into the events that took place in medieval times, the kind of clothes they were wearing, the kind of weaponry that was used. So a lot of effort goes into the research aspect of these kind of artworks. Then there's other things as well, like shape language and readability. All of that combined is what brings us this first part of creating something for the art, from the art team basically.
Yeah, there's a huge process behind it because you always have to think about the historical aspects that you have in there, because you cannot just copy and paste something from somewhere, or just have it historically incorrect, because that's not how a proper gaming studio should do it. So maybe Raza, can you show us what's the process behind it in more detail, and also show us some visuals behind it?
Sure. So, like, our art team is extremely talented, and so they do an extensive research. So, like Resham mentioned, we have an historical advisor who tells us, what was prevalent around those times. So, like, we can't expect uh, people from crusader army to wear, like, certain materials that were not available in that time or region at that point of time. Similarly, for the Kayi tribe, we have to be very careful that, okay, what was the materials available to them, what was the weather like, what was the conditions like, how do they live, how do they travel around. So we have to be very careful about that aspect as well, because it has to be historically accurate, as well as, people should, when you're playing this game, in which we are trying to be as much as historically relevant about the details that are there. So we do want the characters to kind of also be in our theme, but also be historically relevant in terms of what they looked like, or how they appeared, or how they fought, or how they traveled around, or how they made their towns and provinces around where they lived. So we did extensive research about it. So I will share a small file which our art team has shared with us very kindly, which kind of tells us how much research goes into just creating sketches. And so you have been seeing a lot of sketches recently, and this is sort of like a zoomed out view of the basic research, like the crux or the summarized version of the research. Like, there is much more haphazard version of this file as well, but this is more of a structured file. So let me just zoom in slightly into this region. So this is, as you can see, this is sort of a crusader.
You need to first share your screen.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I have been not sharing my
In the
screen.
meantime, they can see how it would look in real life.
Definitely. Let me just share
By the
my
way,
screen
that's
as well.
our Crusader costume we have here. We also have the Kahi costume. I haven't set it up yet in my office because I have limited space available. But maybe in the next interview or ask me anything, I can put the Kahi one for the Turkish fighter in the background. So there we are on the mirror board.
Yeah, this is a mirror board, which is the reference for character and culture, as it's named. So this is something which our art team has shared with us to kind of share with the community as well, and give them an insight, how, what the process and what the thought process is behind creating these characters which we're creating. So, like, you can see, this is sort of a army. Let me zoom slightly in here. So this is like a type of armies for the Crusader faction, as well as these are the type of army for the Turkish factions. Again, we will have more factions as well in the game, but currently these both are the focus for our art team, so they are working on us. And we have been sharing some sketches on our Instagram and social media as well. So let's dive in a little bit further into it. So like if you see the infantry, so the infantry of the Crusaders has been very notorious in terms of their might, like their strength and their uh, uh, how ruthless they were when they were fighting against their opponents. So they did the research and they went through like different, so like crusades were prevalent through centuries. Like it was not just few years, but it was like the crusades were like going from the 11th centuries onwards, and at the time of Ertuğrul there were also some crusades happening, and there were crusades happening even after the time of Ertuğrul. And the costumes and the weaponry kind of evolved with time as well, obviously, because in almost a period of 2 to 300 years the costume and the technology was also evolving. So if we zoom in a little bit, like this is the infantry and the armor, how the style of the armor kind of changes throughout different regions, and the way the weapons were used. So like these were the weapons. We went into some historical research. Our team went into some historical research as per the guidance of our advisor as well. And the shields, the weapons, the armor, they were all like taken into account. We also looked into some art that was created in that, or the artists who have already created some art based on those time and period references. So again, this was something which inspired the sketches of infantry, which we shared on our Instagram. As you can see, I mean, these are very basic level sketches. So this is the first, what you say, step of creating the heroes within the game, because the artist, they sketch something, then they obviously get, like we asked your feedback actually, like we asked you which one do you like the most. And again, you guys are very, very responsive, and we love that you guys are always responding to our questions when we ask in our communities. So that also gives our team some idea, okay, like what the community wants, how the community is responding to what we are building. So
Yeah,
based on, yeah.
they should give us more, because like I have one weapon over here, which is a sword. Uh, if we
The
maybe
whole set.
maybe we can get a pike axe or something like this. That would be great.
we
So please,
should we should definitely.
number three of the sketches, go and vote for it, so I can get a picks for the costume as well.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we would
So
be getting more and more stuff as we go ahead. And then again, these you have to also understand the swords were different. So like the swords that were made for the European factions for crusades were different than the swords that were used in the Kayi tribe and the other factions as well. So those aspects have to be also be considered while we are developing weapons and for the infantry section. Then moving on to our archers, the archers are again were very big force of like to reckon with in terms of the crusaders, because they were also a very big part of those expeditions that were done against their opponents. And again, their archers don't really wear armors, but they have a different sort of getup altogether. They also use bow and arrow, as we know, and how they stored their arrows in, like in a container next to their costume, as well as what kind of boots they were wearing, because archers are not somebody who kind of stays or rides a horse or something like that, but they are kind of like running ahead and they are shooting the arrows at their opponents. So this was
I
sort of
think
a,
I
yeah.
think with archers, one of the things that we must note is the kind of fabrics that they wore. They were very lightweight because the main thing
Yeah,
was, agility and movement and all. So that's something very notable in these particular research elements as well, that the fabric was always lighter for archers as compared to the other warriors.
I think I
absolutely.
need to get an archer costume then, because this thing like weighs like 50 kilos or something like this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And as I said, that we already shared the Crusader version of the archers, and these were the early art inspirations from our art team. So as you can see, and I know we got a very overwhelming response for one of the art crusaders here, which was number two. I know because I was going through the comments and I was going through the tweets that we were receiving, and number two was like by far the most favorite one of the community. But yes, so these are the early sketches of the crusader archers, but there will be like further development on, again they will refine these early sketches to more 2D models, and then they will go on and include it into a 3D model within the game as well. So they will be more of a like NPC characters as well as playable characters. So let's see how our team and the product team will kind of integrate these characters within the game as well as we go ahead. And last but not the least, we go towards the cavalry.
Yeah,
Again,
I don't have enough space in my office for a horse, so that's not going to happen.
I think we should do the next ask me anything in a stable or somewhere, right? Like, Luke, let's go to a stable outdoor location and get a nice white horse for you, so you can be knight in shining armor completely. uh, but yes, I mean the kind of horses, like horses were not rode plainly as well. Horses also had armors when well they were being rode, because obviously they were like the tanks of their time, because
For
they needed
sure.
to be bulletproof, and not bullet, I mean there were no bullets, but like they were arrow proof, or they should be like they needed to have an armor against the enemy that is attacking their rider as well. So they had their different and again though the art shows that there were different embellishments and kind of customization of those archers as well, which denoted their association in the battlefield as well. And the weapons that were held the by the cavalry were also slightly different. I mean, they had spears, they had axes, they had swords as well. So and we went through some historical background, that okay, how would they look like, because it's kind of a mixture of horse riders plus the infantry we saw in the first part of it. So based on that, you saw some sketches of the cavalry as well. um, as you can see, this guy is wielding an axe on the horse. This guy is wielding a sword, again a sword. Then this guy is holding a spear, and this one is holding a different sort of spear. So again, there are different variety of these kind of cavalry art, again based on these early sketches, and these are the only ones which we picked out of the tens and 20 sketches the art team kind of prepares, and they kind of like pick and choose the best one out of them, and then they share it with the marketing team to kind of share it ahead with the community to get their feedback. And while they get the feedback, they also incorporate our feedback as well as their own within their own team. They discuss it with, like Resham mentioned, our historical advisor as well. So it's like a very much of a team effort to kind of come up with, it might just look like a sketch to you guys, and but again there's a lot of thought process and a lot of brain power that goes behind creating all of this. And so this was like how we were kind of working with the Crusader faction. And I think on just yesterday we shared the first of our Turkish faction cavalry, sorry, infantry post. And we I mean, I don't want to go into the Kayi Tribe overall art right now, because that's a different the video probably in the future. But definitely this is something which you can see very much of a difference in the armor as well, like the way the armor was for the Kayi Tribe. They were more into leather skin versus metallic, or if it was a mixture sort of a metal and leather when it came
Yeah, like
to
here as well. That's very notably different from the Crusaders. You can see they have this like pointed hat kind of thing in Crusaders.
exactly.
We had
The
like a pointed
helmet was very different. The
hat.
way the again and again like I said at the very beginning of this video, that the
Speaking of
type
the
of
hats, we
Yeah,
have
Luke
here.
has both.
So that's the one that we have. I mean, I have the whole costume here. Next time I can wear it to show you guys as well. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is something which we have been preparing so far, and there's much more to come actually in the near future. So like, if you're not already following us on social media, on
Mm.
Instagram and Twitter, do follow, and on Discord as well. I mean, a lot of it is already on Discord. Like I think Discord followers get the first and the foremost updates from our art team directly, because our art team members are also a part of our Discord and Medieval Empires Discord, and they keep posting updates from the art repository there, and they also discuss it with the members of our Discord community there, that how they can improve or what their feedback is about, because again, Web3 is all about uh, in cooperation. It's not just we throwing information towards you, but we also want to hear about your thought process and your feedback about what we are doing. And so this game, when it comes out, it will be our game. It will not be our game, but it will be our game, like the community and the team. Yes, it will be like a team effort from the community as well as our team.
It will not
So
just
yeah,
only be me. It will be whole me. Like,
it will be everybody with me.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, then thanks for giving us an insight from the whole perspective, and we will have more art AMAs, most likely also with Joaquin and his team,
Yes.
and then he can also explain, like, in some of the visuals you see movements like almost as they are coming to life. Maybe we can go into the drawing process of it as well, so you can see how they do it in general. But yeah, go to our socials and vote for the one that you like the most, because that's the one then we are going to implement. Because as Raza said, we are a Web3 company. We want to bring you along the process, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share. And yeah, leave your comments below. And thanks for being here, Risham and Raza. And see you in the next meeting, most likely. See the community on the next interview that we are going to have. So thanks for joining. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.